The next morning brought the excitement of recovery-themed workshops. I was intent on furthering my emotional and mental development. For my second workshop of the morning, I was looking very forward to a meeting entitled Survivors in Recovery. I found myself in a small conference room on the ground level of the Horn Floor Hotel beneath the lobby. The room seemed straight out of, I don't know, the 70s or 40s. There were no windows. The room was full of narrow ballroom dining chairs. The workshop was so well attended, it turned out that some people had to sit on ledges at the back of the room, others had to stand. I listened as the first 8 people relayed their experiences of growing up in assaulting environments. I wouldn't have necessarily imagined most of them had these histories. They appeared to be normal people. There was less sentiment or weeping than I might have imagined. As each person told their story, they changed a little bit in my mind. I see you now, I thought to myself. I eventually put my arm up. Shortly after I began speaking, a thought hit. Oh, I told everyone, I didn't realize this next part was trauma. I'm in therapy. 2 weeks ago, I was saying how I can't remember a lot of it. My therapist asked if I'd feel more empowered by starting a list. As various memories come back, I paused. I saw a man in the front row turning around and nodding at me. It was like he was reading my mind. He was telling me it was okay to open the list on my phone. I fidgeted with my device, my heart pounding. It's okay, I heard a woman murmur. That felt incredible. Okay, I said, now seeing the list in email format on my BlackBerry. When I was 8, 9, 10 years old, my dad had us watch movies like Dolores Claiborne and Sleepers and Fargo and Silence of the Lambs and Casino and this Steven Seagal movie that opens with a family being butchered. I looked up. My dad loved Steven Seagal because he loved animal rights. My sternum and feet felt cold. My stomach felt like it had been lifted into my rib cage. My heart felt like it was beating for 2 people. He had us read stories too. One book, Strong on Defense, like a crash course on how to survive assaults. They're extremely grisly, true stories. One story, men break into a couple's home and tie the man up. They tell the woman to get a hammer. She does. You don't have to hold back, Darin. They can handle it. They bludgeon him to death with it in front of her. Another story, a man tricks a woman into letting him into her apartment building. He takes her up to the roof, gags her, and she suffocates on her vomit as she's being assaulted. I was probably 9 years old. I suddenly felt glad to have an empty stomach. Otherwise, my digestion would be completely halted by the Kentucky Derby of adrenaline galloping through my limbs and my head and my groin and my chest. And when O.J. Simpson happened, I was 8. My dad took us down to the basement. He got on his knees, demonstrating how the murders happened. And around the same age, he put in a movie one night. I don't remember the name. It opens with a village of women barricading themselves from horse soldiers who break through the barricades. And for minutes on end, it's just unfiltered gang assault. It just went on. Women struggling, screaming as these soldiers just assault them. I was about 9 years old. And I remember I stood up and I said to my dad, I don't want to watch this. And my dad said, This is the real world. If you're not man enough, you can leave. I tapped a button on my device to scroll down. Oh, I remember being about 9 and wondering if I should ask him, okay, so what do I do if 4 men get me into their SUV, pin me down? How am I supposed to escape that? I still had the BlackBerry up near my face. Oh, this. Share it, I thought. You deserve to let more than just 2 or 3 people help carry your burden. And these people are better equipped than most to hear it. I normally am not even aware of this one, but when it floated back briefly, I snatched it and I wrote it because it's arguably the most valuable piece of tangible evidence I can think of to refute my parents' claim that I made all these memories up. It's about a shirt that I had. When I was about 9, he was going to beat me. I got out the front door. It was summer. He caught me on the side of our condominium. I was pressed into a tree right outside our bay window. I'd thought up till then, on some level, that if I could get another adult to see, they might help. He didn't even try to get me back inside right away or hide what he was doing. He had me pinned against the tree. I don't remember what he said. I looked up. Inside, he jammed me up against the mantelpiece, the fireplace, whatever you call that. I had on this beautiful polo shirt. It was my favorite for playing important tennis matches. I'd already won a tournament wearing it. I'd beaten a kid older and bigger than me. It was a collared polo with 2 or 3 buttons beneath the neck. The shirt had a white background and had these stripes running up and down, stripes of green and red, stripes of emerald and crimson. He grabbed beneath my throat and pulled his hands apart, just kept ripping the shirt down until he'd ripped it open at the bottom. I can still see my brother watching, ducked down, looking at me through the arms of the chair. Later, I was handed the shirt back. I don't remember the details. My mother had sewn it. She didn't ask me anything about it. And I'll probably forget that story again. That's kind of how this seems to go. My memory, I think it's trying to help me, to spare me. But if I ever start to doubt myself, I can come back to this list, to this story. And this is all the same man who'd get on his knees all the time and open his arms and hug me passionately, gently for seconds on end while telling me sincerely how much he loved me. With each subsequent storyteller, I realized siblings. I saw people who were externally so different from me, but with whom I shared something so profoundly intimate. As the meeting ended, I felt unequipped to walk out of the room and resume the facade of a normal, hunky-dory existence.